began enduring the lowest form of creatures, then moving up to face all sorts of enemies, foreign and domestic. In the shadows, childhood friend Maria Osorina, a psychologist, told the BBC in 2003 that it was survival of the fittest in the tough environment they grew up in. He was small, thin, and rather weak because he was born of such old parents. And so it was very important to him to be strong so that he wouldn't get beaten up, she said. She said that the family had strong values of duty, patriotism, and loyalty. His parents loved him very much. He was the center of their world, the son they'd longed for. But their character was very restrained by nature. They didn't really show their emotions. The father was outwardly very cold, and his mother too. They wouldn't even consider kissing their son in public. That would never have occurred to them. Friends and acquaintances remembered the young Putin as clever but self-contained. He was never the center of attention, schoolmate Sergei Kudrov told the BBC in 2001. He preferred to influence events from a distance, a sort of gray cardinal, as the saying goes. So different from Boris Yeltsin. Remember how he climbed on a tank and gestured for everyone to follow him? You just couldn't imagine Putin doing that. He is an introvert, a man of deeds, not words. He had a romantic desire to become a KGB agent and serve his country incognito. Perhaps the perfect job for someone who liked to avoid the limelight. By his own admission, his inspiration was the 1968 Soviet spy film, The Shield and the Sword. It was about a Russian double agent in wartime Germany, stealing documents to sabotage Nazi operations while posing as a chauffeur. Putin never wavered from his boyhood ambition to become an intelligence officer, right through university and KGB training. When he was 16, he entered the local KGB headquarters and asked for a job. They told him to study law and then wait. 6 years later, he was recruited by the agency. For more than 16 years, Putin would live the double life of an intelligence agent. When the Berlin Wall fell, he was serving in East Germany. He returned to a Russia where all the old certainties were collapsing. In 1991, Putin became deputy to the new mayor of Leningrad, Anatoly Sobchak. When Sobchak was voted out, the Kremlin headhunted Putin. As the Yeltsin administration staggered towards its end, Putin rose stealthily until, in 1999, he was made prime minister. The man from nowhere was suddenly everywhere all at once. For Putin's old friend Maria Osorina in 2003, his leadership was a breath of fresh air. I was born in 1950, and since that time we've never had a leader who is pleasant to look at. I didn't like any of them. Putin is the first person to rule Russia since the revolution whom I really like. He's the first normal person, the first one we're not ashamed of. Putin has been in power for a quarter of a century, longer than any Kremlin leader since Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin. Now that he is age 72 and in his fifth term as president, wrote the BBC's Paul Kirby earlier this year, all semblance of opposition to his rule is gone and there is little to stop him staying on if he wants until 2036.